I saw this clip the other day of Disguised Toast commenting on young men being driven to hard-right personalities like Andrew Tate or Jordan Peterson.
Just give them the bomb for being men? Yo. That's real.
What?
Hold up.
Don't do that.
What you just did is what's driving left men to the right. Because just because they're men, you're like, oh, fuck them. And that's why a lot of guys right now, especially young guys, are looking towards like masculine, toxic ones for guidance because there's not a lot of ones on the left because of casual comments like that.
I found this clip interesting because I've been thinking a lot lately about masculinity as a whole in our society, whether masculinity is dying or not, and how it is affecting men today. So that brings me to the topic at hand. If masculinity is dying, and if it is, what does that mean? So first I want to ask, what is masculinity? The definition of masculinity is a societal concept that has changed much over time. Masculinity, in my eyes, started when men were competing to see who could grunt the loudest and slay the biggest boar. Masculinity has evolved to be correlated to things like building the biggest company in the world or lifting the most amount of weight possible. But now it is becoming more socially acceptable to blur those lines of masculinity and femininity. Men are now doing things like painting their nails, wearing makeup, and even wearing dresses. So it brings the question of what is the modern man supposed to be? And how are young men going through society supposed to find an identity of who they want to be? I say forget about all these gender roles and everything you've been told to do. Just do what you want to do. Masculinity is a social construct. The constructs of our society has allowed for men to be different than men have ever been. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. It doesn't matter what kind of man you are. We all still have to deal with the same problems. It doesn't matter if you're straight or gay, we still have to deal with the societal pressure of having to approach our prospective partners with confidence and being able to handle rejection. It doesn't matter if you're short or tall, we are all still subject to unrealistic body standards set upon us by society. It doesn't matter how much money you make, all men are heavily defined by what job they have and how much money they bring home. Men have been subjected to the same problems all throughout history, just in different ways. I'm not saying that the problems are exactly the same, but I do think that no matter what type of man you are going to be uncontrollably judged by society. And this is where the toxicity comes in. So many influencers out there who claim to be for the betterment of men are really no better than the OnlyFans girls they criticize. They rage bait you into engaging with their content and then get you hooked on whatever subscription service they have. But it's okay when the man influencer does it because the manliest thing a guy can do is give another man money to tell him how to think and act. Now, I don't know about you, but it doesn't matter what kind of man society tells me that I should be. I make my own decision of what is the man I want to be. If your definition of being a man is being the guy who takes care of his family, then do it. If your definition of being a man involves being a drag queen, then do it. If your definition of being a man involves being a stay-at-home dad, please tell me where these breadwinner women are at because bills suck. You only live one life, and for your mental sanity, do what makes you happy. In my eyes, the pursuit of masculinity should be for self-fulfillment, not to fulfill some societal standard of what you should be. I personally have never understood why anyone cares about masculinity dying. I don't care how many gay people I see, how many transgender people I see, how many rants I see on my timeline. Masculinity dying or thriving doesn't change who I am. That to me is the strongest thing a man can do. Looking at the expectations of society and saying, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I wanna do. Lastly, I'll end off with this. I don't think that masculinity is dying more than I think that it is changing. I think it's good that masculinity is no longer tied to things like dying in a war at 19 years old or working in a dangerous coal mine because that's the only way you can provide for your family. The old definition of what a man is supposed to be and what a man should do, it's not sustainable anymore. As long as you are a person who has strong moral standings, you care for others, and you truly want to make the world a better place no matter how minuscule your effort is, then I don't think you're doing anything wrong, and you shouldn't feel like you are either.